Well, if you didn't think it could get worse with ArriveSCAM, it does. Well, here's the latest story. So a contractor who got over $8 million of our taxpayers' money for the ArriveCAN app, well, he's the CEO of another company who got more money and more contracts from other government agencies. But then here's the twist. It turns out he is not only the CEO of this company that got ArriveCAN money from us, he is the CEO and now works for DND. He's a staffer. It's very confusing. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Brian Lilley and Lorrie Goldstein. I know it's confusing. I know it's convoluted, but draw the straight line for us, Brian. What's going on here?
If you have a full-time day job at the Department of National Defense and your boss doesn't know that you're also running a multi-million-dollar IT firm as your side hustle, maybe we've got too many civil servants. Because that's going to take up an awful lot of your time, even just putting out the applications to collect that much money, and you're still doing a full-time job at DND. This is more layers of filth attached to this app, which, by the way, bureaucrats wanted for years. They finally got it due to COVID, and then absolutely destroyed anyone's faith in the ability of bureaucracy to have anything to do with IT.
So, Lorrie, this new revelation comes on the heels that this D&D employee was the CEO of one of the companies that got all millions of our dollars. It comes on the heels of a review that the government is announcing on how they issue Indigenous contracts, because this company claims to be Indigenous. And so now they're looking into all of this. And I just think that here we go again, yet another thing that the government puts their fingers on, and it's a complete failure.
Well, I mean, let's go just down to the basic thing. And Brian outlined it well, but let's look at the microcosm. If you're a D&D employee, you shouldn't be getting contracts from D&D, from the Department of National Defense.
Good point.
Now, the other point is, how did his superiors not know this? Like, I heard one of the liberals say, well, this is bad. Yeah. But it looks like, well, who's going to be fired? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Who's going to be fired for the fact that, look, regardless of Indigenous or not, I'm sure there are many competent Indigenous companies doing all kinds of things. Now, the government does have a quota. I think that it wants 5% of contracts to Indigenous. Fine. That's not the problem. The problem here was a complete lack of due diligence, most egregiously on the D&D contract. But this fellow and another company, they got millions and millions of dollars all over the place from government, presumably because he's headed by someone who's Indigenous. So I'm sure we're going to have a very complicated investigation about who's Indigenous and who isn't, and it's very difficult, and we have to make things right with the Indigenous, none of which has anything to do with. How many times are we saying it? It's either incompetence or it's corruption.
Yeah.
Or maybe both. Right from ArriveCAN, $80,000 goes to $60 million. The Auditor General says she can't figure out how much it might actually be, because there was something like $12 million in ArriveCAN that was for other stuff, right? And so she says, I don't know what's in there. She came as close as she could. She said, I'm very concerned because I can't track the numbers. It's not her job to say fraud. But if you're anyone who's experienced in journalism or politics, reading her report goes, she's worried about fraud. There's no doubt.
Well, it seems that every government agency or department that the Liberal government is involved in or running, it's like a daily episode of Veep. So I'm going to leave us with a quote from that great show. The level of incompetence in this office is staggering. Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. Go to theTorontoSun.com and you're going to find commentary and coverage there that you will not find anywhere else.